What's good, everybody? The Golden State Warriors are the 2022 NBA champions. This video right here, this video, we're going to highlight and discuss all things Warriors. For however long this video is, I don't know. I need to record this video simply because my team was able to win the NBA championship. And I don't talk about my team as much because a lot of conversations around my team are never genuine. It leads to nasty conversation. There's never like an honest rapport with people to just have a genuine conversation. But in this video, right, I don't care about that. We're talking about my team. Yesterday, I'm watching the game, and the Celtics get out to an early lead. And I want to say this. On Twitter Spaces, I host spaces where I give people my detailed analysis and critique about the game. I look at game film because I don't do the narrative stuff. Like, I actually watch basketball. And for me to win this series, Golden State needed to come out with a sense of urgency in the first quarters. And despite going down 14-2, Golden State immediately turned the quarter, immediately capitalized off of Boston's turnovers, and without blinking, the lead went from that to the Warriors being up 6 points. And it just kept building up. And the next thing you know, they're up 20 points. They're in the third quarter. Celtics are fighting back. They go on a 15-2 run. And what was so beautiful about this game is the Warriors were so dominant. And then they tricked off the lead, and the game got close. And let me tell you why I love that as a Warriors fan. Let me look right in the camera and tell you why I love that. I love that because there was a lot of people who kept telling me over and over, the Warriors can win the championship. Steph Curry is not a closer. He's not able to get over the hump. He can't do X, Y, or Z. But in last night's game, because the game got close, guess what we had to see? We had to see Steph Curry take the ball and say, this motion offense stuff is cool, but I'm our superstar. I'm going to bring us home. And that's exactly what he did. He was very, very good last night. He made up for the bad game he had prior to that, and you got to give respect where it's due. Like, this whole narrative that because Steph Curry plays off the ball, he cannot dominate you on the ball was just ridiculous. He was absolutely sensational last night, and scoring in the fourth quarter when we needed it was very important. Before I get further into this talk, I got to highlight Draymond Green, which, by the way, he will be the first player of a championship core to win a championship while doing a popular podcast at the same time. And to all the Warriors fans and like other people who are getting concerned about Draymond doing the podcast, y'all gotta understand, basketball is not real life. This is a sport that they play to have fun. It ties back to them. They grew up with it. But there's multiple other things people do in the day. Just because he's putting out the podcast does not mean he's not all the way focused. It's how it be. Draymond is preparing his career for after basketball is over. And for me, at least, I never gave him the excuse of, oh, he's doing the podcast, so that's... No, Draymond was just playing bad, and he figured his situation out. Last night, he was absolutely sensational. His defense for the entire game was phenomenal. His help side was amazing, but also his offense. Like that one play where he's standing in the middle and he shoots the long two. That's a crucial shot. And for Draymond to have the confidence to knock that down, like that speaks to the team as a whole. But we gotta get into this. So here's the broader overview. Klay Thompson in the 2019 NBA Finals tears his Achilles and then comes back. Tears his ACL. And then in the summer that he's supposed to come back, he then tears his Achilles. So he's out for 2 seasons. The Warriors absolutely stink. It's a bunch of young talent. They're just playing through this stuff. They're not that good. Klay Thompson is set to come back. And coming into this season, off of last season, which, by the way, this championship, now that I've had time to like go to sleep and really think about it, this championship is so significant to me because what I remember is because the Warriors were so far out of contention, last year when Steph Curry had to do heroics to make this team good enough to make the playoffs, the conversation was this was a play-in team, which it never existed before last season, but they made the play-in, they lost the games in the play-in, they wound up not making the playoffs. And the narrative was, are they really going to be able to get back to the championship? The dynasty is over. Ja Morant owns the franchise, yada, yada, yada. And I don't get into those talks as much because, again, I like basketball, but I'm petty. We going to be here because my team won a championship. We going to be here. I'm speaking with my chest. I'm giving you chest today in this video. So then they come back this year. Klay Thompson is out. The lottery picks are still on the team. They don't trade Andrew Wiggins, which was very, very smart. And we're going to get to the Andrew Wiggins piece of this very, very soon too. But they keep all that intact. They come into the season. They start out 18-2. And I'm highlighting that because coming into the season, I feel like the sharp basketball minds understood how good the Warriors would be, but the masses did not. A lot of people had the Warriors as like a 6 seed, a 5 seed, who had a ceiling of a conference finals if everything went right, but they didn't see them beating the Lakers. They didn't see them beating the Nets. People kept telling me the entire season, Golden State is not on the same tier or level as the Phoenix Suns, which annoyed me. As a Warriors fan, I wanted to see Phoenix in the playoffs so we could just dispel this narrative that Chris Paul and Devin Booker are going to be better than Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green in a series to beat us. I wanted to play them. Unfortunately, Luka had to own their franchise and put them out the playoffs, so we couldn't see that. But that's fine, whatever. That's a whole nother tangent. The point is, for this entire regular season, people had to put respect on the Warriors because of how we came out. Then Draymond goes down. And when Draymond went down, the team lost some games initially, and Steph had to do other things. He had to play more of a traditional point guard role simply because of the personnel that was left on the roster after Draymond got hurt. Obviously, him being the Iron Man leader of the defense, because he wasn't there, they had to put things together. They went on a losing streak, but guess what? They also won 9 games straight, and Steph Curry was playing as traditional of a point guard role as you can, getting others involved, playing phenomenally well. Dispelling this myth that Steph Curry can't play on the ball and can't do this and that. He absolutely can. And then Klay Thompson comes back. So now it's Klay, Draymond, and Steph, but they only played literally for like a minute right before Draymond gets hurt. So now you got Steph, Klay, and Poole trying to figure things out, right? And then you have Steph go down against this same Celtics team. And then you have Draymond and Poole basically figuring things out with Klay Thompson, which I believe all of those injuries to the core three, because if you think about it, Klay missed the first half of the season, Draymond goes out for the middle, Steph goes out for the end. For those three to miss significant time, I believe that got the roster in shape because they had to learn how to play without at least one of those three on the court, and they had to find ways to be resourceful and fight through that adversity. For Poole, it was tremendous to not have Steph Curry on the floor because that gave him the opportunity to do what he does, build up his confidence, and cook. So when it comes down to playoff time and we need him to score 14 points or 15 points or 16 points and be productive in the non-Steph Curry minutes, he was able to do that based on what he had to do in the regular season. When he was averaging 25, when he put up 38 points on the Phoenix Suns defense, which was number 1 in the league at the time. So I'm bringing all that up because timelining this is very crucial. We come into the season, a lot of people say the Warriors are not going to be on anything. They're not going to be that good of a team. Then we start to dominate. Then it's okay, the Warriors are probably going for the championship. Then the injuries happen. Then it's like, are they really going to be that good? Steph might not be 100%. We're not sure. We never saw the big three play significant basketball until the first round versus Denver. That's when you see Klay Thompson playing with Poole, playing with Steph, and we called it the death lineup. And a major underrated part, before we even get to the playoffs, Andrew Wiggins. And I had a video on the channel before this video all about Andrew Wiggins. Because Andrew Wiggins, again, a player taken from Minnesota, specifically was a difference maker for the Golden State Warriors because of his point of attack defense, his secondary shot creation ability, and his physicality, not just defensively, but on the glass and on offensive rebounds. And for the entire playoffs, him and Looney were instrumental in the Warriors getting those looks. But because of his play, again, I say this multiple times, I don't hate Kevin Durant. Because by Kevin Durant doing a sign and trade, he got the money he wanted, but he gave us an asset to flip for Wiggins. And all I've been saying is this is not disrespect to Kevin Durant. But when you have a 3 like Andrew Wiggins, who can play and guard multiple positions on the court, when you put that in, you don't necessarily need a KD level talent to win in this system. You don't. You just need someone who can play defense, give you some type of shot creation, and get to the free throw line occasionally. And that's what Andrew Wiggins provided. So coming into this playoff run, a lot of people had Andrew Wiggins taking a step back. A lot of people thought Andrew Wiggins was not this good player. He wouldn't be able to be productive in the NBA. But if you watch the last 2 seasons with Kerr, the growth that Andrew Wiggins was going through was for this moment. And when Klay Thompson comes back and Poole is there, all the pressure on Andrew Wiggins to have to score 25, 30, it's not there. So if he does it, it's a plus. Because his main thing is defense and scoring 14 or 15 points. And that's all we needed. And he played phenomenally in his role. And that's what the Warriors are about. The Warriors are different from all other 29 NBA teams because the way that they play basketball, they move the ball. It's not largely centered around one person being primarily ball dominant, and they consistently have multiple actions that can test and stretch out a defense consistently and gives multiple looks. So you're making everybody work. People don't get a chance to rest when you go up against the Golden State Warriors. If your biggest offensive positive is guarding wings, you have to guard in motion. Steph and Klay, we're going to be moving all night long. Andrew Wiggins in transition. Draymond Green from the top of the key when he's creating off of dribble handoff opportunities. There's constant things to where whoever your weakest link is defensively, they're going to get exploited because of the motion. Everybody has to play defense, which collectively can tire out the entire team and make them bring you less offensively. And I know this, right? So coming into the season, I'm saying, okay, we have Steph, who is a top 5 player. We have Klay Thompson, who we got to see how he plays. We have Andrew Wiggins, who is going to play POA for Klay. So when Klay comes back, he's not going to be asked to do as much. And then we have Draymond, who's the leader of the defense. And then we have Jordan Poole, a guy who, if you just watch the way he closed out last season, he showed you major improvements to basically justify that he would average 17 in the regular season. And another guy who can put the ball on the floor, explode on closeouts, get to the basket, and pass well, works phenomenally well in the system. So from my perspective, I had the Warriors as a conference finals lock at the start of the season. Well, my question was specifically Klay Thompson as far as his mental, as far as how he will look effectively, defensively. I had a question about that. So I said, we could probably go to the finals and win, but I have to see how Klay comes back. If Klay didn't come back, I had another team making it. I did. But once I saw Klay come back the way he did, I was fully in on the boat. Once I saw him play productively, even without Steph or Klay, I was feeling that this would be the year that the Warriors capitalized on winning the championship. I really, really did. And for all the talk, all the slander that Steph Curry gets, his impact on winning is something that has to be talked about. Because a lot of times people really want to see superstar players carry a below average team to the playoffs and bring them to success. And I think that that's whack and that's corny. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to win a championship, you need to have a team of guys that are good to great with a superstar that best maximizes them and brings the best out of them. And you're not going to always get that if you have an overall roster of trash. The Warriors were deep as far as having different guys in different specialist roles, but the way that they play basketball enables these specialist types of guys to have a lot of value. If everybody is just catch and shoot corner three, then you're not going to be able to see the value of a Jordan Poole offensively. You're not going to be able to see the value of a Draymond Green offensively. There's other things that I can say about the players, but that's what it ultimately comes down to, and that starts with Steph. The fact that the point guard of the team is a selfless superstar that is okay with yielding his shots to Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins, take that mid-range, take that pull-up three, take that corner three. Because even if you don't make it, I have faith in you to make the shot. The ultimate confidence that you get having the support of the greatest shooter of all time really contributes to how good you can be. And on this team, that's what the culture is. And that's not even like the core focus, because the core focus of this team for years has always been the defense. And the way that they play defense in the playoffs is exactly why the Warriors are where they are. They play defense, they capitalize off of your mistakes, and that is how they've won every single time they've won. They're a defensive-minded team first. And the fact that we were able to survive with Jordan Poole, who was a defensive liability at times during the playoffs, although his defense did pick up in the last two games of this final series, is a testament to how important Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, and Draymond Green are to sustaining that defense to where you can play with those players on the court. But we also got to talk a little X's and O's from this Boston Celtic Golden State Warriors series. Because what's hilarious to me that no one ever talks about is when you look at it, Boston for the entire series fell for the bait. They saw Steph Curry, they saw Jordan Poole, and they said, let's hunt the mismatch. And I think that people got to understand, to hunt a mismatch in the playoffs, you have to be a great playmaker, a great star type of guy who can consistently create very positive advantages when you're hunting these mismatches. And whenever Boston tried to hunt Steph Curry, they would score sometimes, yes. It was easier scoring at times, but they made life difficult because they had to fight to get that switch. And then when they got that switch, it wasn't always easy. Sometimes Steph would play good defense, get a deflection play, or get a complete stop. And all he had to do was play good enough single coverage defense to where when the help comes, he's doing his job. And to me, Steph Curry did his job. You can nitpick on how good he is. Defense is more than just isolation. Defense is a team concept. And that's what the Warriors are, a complete team. So when you're trying to isolate Steph and you're isolating Poole, you're falling into the Warriors' minds. Tatum, shoot that contested mid-range. Shoot that contested three. Don't get to the basket. Settle for these shots on Curry and Poole. Do it. And all series long, that's what they did. And they lost for that. That's why they lost. They kept doing that, and they had poor offense out of it. And Golden State does this. Like, they play these mental games with you to bait you into taking terrible, inefficient shots. That's what they do. But shout out to Boston. They were a good team. We're not going to do this corny thing where we rewrite narratives to basically prop Golden State down. We're not going to say Golden State was supposed to do this, because coming into the series, a lot of people said Boston was the better team. When Golden State went down 2-1, a lot of people said Golden State was dead in the water. There was no way that they would win game 4. They were telling me that it was not going to be possible. That's what they said. And then when Steph Curry goes out there and he has 43 points and scores at a supremely efficient clip for the entirety of the series, now Boston's weak. Now we should have won. I'm not trying to hear that. So shout out to the Warriors. Last night, it wasn't really sitting with me, because what I think is a bit corny about this championship is now people are going to paint it as if Steph had to win this championship, or Golden State had to win this championship to prove that they could still do it, to validate like how good they were. And I think that's corny, because I knew how good Steph Curry was before this. I knew how good this team was and what these players were made of before this championship. All this championship does for me is it provides a physical example of everything that I've been saying. So I don't have to break it down. I don't have to get so nuanced and really focus on like the small, minute details. I can just say 4th championship. I can now say the phrase Golden State and Steph Curry have won rings with and without Kevin Durant twice. They won before Kevin Durant, they won with Kevin Durant, they won after Kevin Durant. And this isn't even a Kevin Durant thing, but this is to all the people who push propaganda, who push agendas, and who don't appreciate basketball, who do these corny types of things to take away from how good the team is and how good Steph Curry is, who does not get enough respect sometimes as a star in the league. In multiple spaces this season on Twitter, which by the way, follow me on Twitter, GiftedxBuckets, you see it right there. I had to fight for Steph Curry being a top 5 player. Isn't that ridiculous? I have to argue that Steph Curry is top. No, I had Steph as a top 2 player coming into the season. And the way that he played in the playoffs, especially in the finals, that justifies his placement. Because his impact on winning is what I look at. You can look at, oh, well, he doesn't play defense like a Giannis, or he's not as tall as a LeBron or a Kawhi, but his impact on winning is either at that level or higher than a lot of these dudes that people put over him. And at the same time, it also helps when you have a stretch in the finals where you're shooting 50% from the field, 49% from 3 on 12.8 threes a game. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, right? But it's only right because there's not going to be any more basketball that's done. But I will be having more content and more spaces dedicated to all the NBA teams, starting with the Warriors because that's my team. But I had to get this off because I'm a humble guy. Obviously, even this shirt says stay humble. That's what I do. But at the same time, I think people mistake being humble for being soft, for just allowing people to say certain things every time. And I was doing that just because I wanted to wait for this moment. And now that we hear, like, I'm not having that, I'm not hearing that. So sorry that this video is 22 minutes long, but I had to get this off. I'm gonna end this video here. Again, we do have more content coming. Listen, I need y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. We're in the off season. I'm gonna be going so hard to provide really good content to this channel and to Twitter. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at GiftedxBuckets. You're gonna find a lot of positive things about basketball, anime, all types of other stuff on that account. So make sure to tap in there. But I'm gonna head out. I'll be having more individual videos on the Warriors, what this championship means, and all of that in the future. So stay tapped in. I appreciate y'all. We are out of here. Peace.